the 2024 season for the wild card games. Day number 1 wrapped up. Texans, Chargers. Let's talk about them first. Domination from the Texans. Chargers had the Texans tail spinning for majority of this game, but they couldn't do anything with the ball. I mean, I'm looking at the box score here. The Chargers scored 6 points in the first quarter and didn't score again until the fourth quarter, where they scored a touchdown and then got their field or the extra point blocked for 2 points, which is how the Texans ended up with 32. And the thing about this game is Justin Herbert played awful. He played awful. Now, he individually did play awful, but another thing about this, because that pick six was horrendous, and the other potential, he threw 4 interceptions. 4. Justin Herbert played terrible, but like I said when the season started, my biggest concern was they entered the season without a solid receiving core for Justin Herbert. They got rid of all his weapons, and McConkey's good, but it's clear you cannot have him as like the only weapon on your team offensively. And it's not because McConkey's not good. It's just that when you lock him up or double cover him, it takes a long time for you to score touchdowns. It's really hard to score touchdowns and be an efficient offense when they're doing that. Like I said, this box score says it for itself. You score while turning the ball over, or turning the Texans over and having the ball in great position, and you only come out with a field goal, and then you go 2 quarters scoreless. Really, you should have even scored that in the fourth quarter. Really, you could have been shut out essentially for the entirety of the game after the first quarter, which is terrible football. And the Texans did the opposite. They went scoreless in the first quarter because, again, it was horrendous first quarter. They scored 10 points in the second, 10 points in the third, 12 points in the fourth. I mean, you just can't let that happen. And the Texans defense played phenomenally, and C.J. Stroud, after the first quarter, woke up and started playing great football. But the Chargers in this game, they just couldn't do anything. And part of the reason is because they don't have a good receiving core. There's a couple of guys who were playing today that need to be cut or traded. And I hate saying that, but I've seen enough. The tight end for the Chargers couldn't catch, and he turned the ball over. And it just wasn't pretty. The receiver, I forgot his name. I think it was Johnson. Whoever's number 1 for the Chargers has to go. He's been doing this for way too long. Not just this season either. He needs to go. They need to give him legitimate weapons, man. Like, I know Keenan Allen could not stay healthy, but they need something. They needed somebody, and they wasted what was a pretty good season for Justin Herbert. He had like 3 interceptions this season, had 4 in one game when they needed him the most. Just terrible. So there's that game. I mean, my notes is C.J. Stroud showed why he had a very stellar season last year and played really well. The Texans defense played phenomenal because they stopped they made the Chargers settle for field goals early, and that's what set up for a ass whooping, basically, quite frankly, for the majority of the game. So that was just great football from them. I will say this: Khalil Mack can still play football at an extremely high level. And I hope that the Chargers have a lot of great pieces, but they need receivers, man. They really do. Going to the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game. I mean, yeah, no? Were you worried? Ravens flock, were you worried? 28-14. Really should have been 28-7. It really should have been 28-0. But, I mean, look at the box score. First quarter, Pittsburgh 0, Ravens 7. Second quarter, 0 points for Pittsburgh again, Ravens 14. Third quarter, Pittsburgh 14, Ravens 7. And then fourth quarter, no one scored. So, I mean, comparing the games, Russell Wilson, 20 for 29, 270, 2 touchdowns. I don't think no interceptions. Lamar Jackson, 16 for 21, 175, 2 tutties. Derrick Henry, 26 carries, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns. When Derrick Henry has 25 plus touches, great things are going to happen. Isaiah Likely, 3 receptions, 53 yards. Bateman had a good game and then was never seen again because they didn't need him. The Ravens had a drive where they did 13 plays for 85 yards, I believe, and every single one of those 13 plays was a rushing play. Let that sink in. Every single play on a touchdown scoring drive of 85 yards was a running play. That is called bully ball. That's bully ball, man. I mean, the Ravens had 299 rushing yards total. That's disgusting. That is gross, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. While the Steelers had they had 251 total passing yards. The Ravens like 165. And obviously it was those 2 deep passes. I mean, look, man, the Ravens defense, until except the third quarter, I don't know what happened in the third quarter. The Ravens defense started selling, but for the first, second, and fourth quarter, the Ravens defense was solid. Did not mess around. Got after Russell Wilson. Made him feel very uncomfortable. Locked up a lot of the receivers. You knew the Steelers were going to be for a long day when they decided to accept the kickoff, and then the first play was a drop pass by their tight end, who had a stellar regular season, and dropped that pass. That already set the tone that this was going to be a long day for them, and it turned out being a long day, man. Najee Harris had 6 carries for 17 yards. The Ravens won the rushing yardage in this game, 299 rushing yards to 29. That's gross. That's really gross, bro. I mean, what do you do? What do you do? I also wrote some additional notes for this game. And that is that okay. Lamar Jackson establishing the run in the first quarter because he was run the ball a lot. That's for where he almost got injured with his lower back. But he ran the ball. They're doing a bunch of runs, option reads, because obviously, like every team in the playoffs are going to do, they were dedicated to stopping the run from Derrick Henry. And to counteract that, it looks like Todd Monken was like, listen, if they're going to crash, Lamar, you've got to run with the ball. And Lamar ran and ran and ran and ran. And some of them were design runs. Some of them were like, look, I'm looking, no one, boom, that clear lane. Lamar earlier this season would have held the ball and tried to make a pass play work. Probably would have got sacked, strip fumble, or a negative play would have happened or something like that. Especially how far back he drops back on his dropbacks. He goes far. So when he gets sacked or something happens, it's like a negative 11 plus play. So now he's like, okay, I'm taking off, I'm running, I'm going to extend the play a little bit more. Like I'm just doing Lamar things. What makes me really good is the legs, not just rushing positively or going north-south, but also going east-west when it comes to me trying to extend plays to figure stuff out, like that play to Hill, where it was like a normal quarterback, any other quarterback really would have been like, okay, we have like 5 seconds, no timeouts. Like I can't afford to get a sack, and the person I'm throwing it to, if I do throw it, I have to get in the end zone. We don't have time to go spike the ball. We have no timeouts. So the fact that he extended that play and found Hill and touchdown, I mean, listen, Patrick Queen was not looking good this game. I'm gonna say there's a reason why they didn't want to pay the brother the money and let him walk. Him and Geno Stone. But yeah, man. I mean, it was just great. They scored. Here's the thing. They scored touchdowns. Justin Tucker revived himself after the bye week, but they're like, you know what? Our mistake the first Steelers game was even making it making it to the point where Justin Tucker had to save us. You know, it should have been, we need to score touchdowns. Field goals will get you beat. Like the Chargers game, field goals will get you beat, and field goals got them beat. Instead of getting those touchdowns, making it 14-0, they made it 6-0, which all you need to do is a touchdown to take the lead, touchdown and extra point to take the lead, which the Texans ended up doing. So, yeah, Lamar Jackson, I mean, come on, man. Lamar also had 10 rushes for 54 yards and had a 70% success rate. I mean, Jesus. You know, I mean, what are you going to do with that? Like, what are you actually going to do with that? Third quarter. Here's the MVP, like, play, right? I know MVP is a regular season award, but I'm saying, like, this is when people are saying that Derrick Henry is the reason for Lamar's success or his growth this season, and Derrick Henry's like the soul, like, because Derrick Henry, Lamar doesn't deserve the MVP, blah, blah. Here is what I'm talking about when I say in all my videos about the MVP discussion, why Lamar Jackson is like Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers, who had 1,000 receiving yards, benefits from Lamar Jackson more than Lamar Jackson benefits from them. And the example one, Zay Flowers out, and look what happened this game. But also, third quarter, there's a specific third quarter play. I made sure to write this down as it happens so I didn't forget. There's a third quarter play where Derrick Henry ran for a touchdown. And that touchdown was influenced by Lamar Jackson in the option read. Because it was a play where Derrick Henry was a really late handoff, and then like Derrick Henry shot out of the hole like a cannon, and then you can see the image. It's just him in front towards the end zone and a bunch of Steelers where Patrick Queen made a business decision and he was not trying to tackle Derrick Henry. He wanted nothing, no part of that. So that was influenced because the player, I forgot who was lined up over there, froze because he had to respect Lamar Jackson. Predicated earlier in the game in the first quarter when Lamar curved? No, I don't know. It's late, but like he carved. I'm trying to say carved. He carved them boys up in the running game, and so he has to respect that. And that's what happens when you establish Lamar as a dual threat. Is that when you have those RPOs or any type of option read plays, you want to freeze people because it's so quick and he's so quick that you're like, okay, I have to do something. I have to go after one of these guys or else they're going to break free for a big play. And when the guy froze, Lamar is like, boom, I don't have the ball anymore. And by the time the guy even realized what happened, Derrick Henry was already in the second level and no one's there. There's no safety because they're dedicated to crashing that run, and they couldn't do it. And that's the thing I'm talking about, what makes Lamar Jackson so dangerous. Because, yes, do they have to worry about Derrick Henry running? Of course. But the reason why they freeze is because there's a bunch of players in the box dedicated to stopping Derrick Henry, who's going to go right into that box. When it comes to, if it's Lamar keeping the ball, there's like one or two players that are over there. If he gets past those two players, there's no one else, and it's a touchdown, no matter where on the field it is. And not only that, Lamar Jackson is the quarterback. So when Lamar Jackson keeps the ball, he could also potentially pass the ball. So you also have to maybe go back into pass coverage. Like, there's so many different elements to those type of plays. And that is what makes Lamar Jackson so dangerous. So when you stop running the ball as Lamar Jackson, if you stop let him run the ball and give him more freedom and autonomy that way, it makes him one-dimensional, which makes him just not as a threat. And so some of those plays where you freeze up players doesn't really happen as much because, like, oh, he's been throwing the ball all game. Yes, I respect the legs, but you went out your way to not run the ball this game. I don't have to worry about that much. So there's so many different elements. There's so many different ways to go about this. So that's what I really like. Like, that's something I really like and respect about the Ravens offense, Todd Monken this season, and Todd Monken basically said, I'm not no Greg Roman. I'm not Greg Roman. Speaking of Greg Roman, let's go back to the Chargers game. Greg Roman, man. I want Chargers fans to understand what Lamar Jackson was dealing with. Because Greg Roman didn't have in my opinion, a great play call. I think I don't know. I didn't like. Let me go to the run. Let me go back to the tab where you see the run versus pass. Because I really didn't like what I saw. Um, Let me see. Did it show it? Okay, rushing yards. Yeah, that's what I thought. The Texans had 168 rushing yards, while the almost at San Diego Chargers, the Chargers had 50 rushing yards. Listen, I love Justin Herbert. I'm high on Justin Herbert. I don't care what quarterback you have. You have to establish some type of running. The thing about Lamar and what makes him MVP caliber and how he has two already about to win his third is that worst case scenario that if you can't get the running game going with your backs, you can get the running game going through Lamar Jackson while also having him pass effectively and efficiently too, especially this season, how he's been throwing the football, how he's evolved as a passer. So, and now he has like legitimate receiving threats on his team. So like it's just unfair. And it's one of those things where I know the NFL is so soft with the GMing because it's one of those things where I swear I'll go back to the Chargers again. I just want to make this point. I think it's important for all teams in the playoffs still. What makes the Ravens what GMs need to do is that the Ravens should have never got Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was the perfect back to place with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. And any and every GM should have made all the calls, moved heaven to earth to at least attempt to block that acquisition. And they didn't. So doing the opposite, where you go to the Chargers, and you get rid of Justin Herbert's weapons, all his receivers, really, and leaving what he has now, it's just really, I mean, it's tough. I mean, there's a reason, and I love J.K. Dobbins, but there's a reason why he's on the Ravens anymore. And J.K. Dobbins had 9 carries for 26 yards. That's not going to cut it. And there was 15 rushing yards total. So, I mean, he had a little bit over, like 0.5 over half of the total rushing yards for this team. That's disgusting. And the thing is, you were winning 6-0. There's no reason that the run should have been completely abandoned. But when you can't establish the run, bad things happen, right? I mean, even in passing yards, it was 261 to 211. Texans having the 261. I don't understand. And Todd Monken does that. And that's why I related to the Ravens as Greg Roman, who's on the Chargers calling plays offensively, used to be the offensive coordinator for those that don't know or whatever. Used to be offensive coordinator for the Ravens last season when the Ravens had that choke job. And part of the reason is that the Ravens all game in the AFC Championship game last year had 16 or 18 rushing attempts all game. No. So yeah, it's just not good. It's not good. So, this version of the Ravens is what should have been the playoffs all throughout. And I'm telling teams this, especially Texans. You know what you're good at. You know what got you here. Do not, if you do go to Kansas City, do not go to Kansas. As a matter of fact, whoever faced Kansas City throughout this whole playoffs, do not face the Kansas City Chiefs and suddenly abandon what got you there. It is ridiculous, it's asinine, and it should be stopped because they do the same thing as the Patriots. I'm running on 20 minutes. I don't want this video to be like a huge, long thing. But I just want to get all the points across. Lamar Jackson's MVP. I don't care what Josh Allen does tomorrow. He's not going to top that because Lamar Jackson looked stupid. Lamar Jackson looked stupid today, bro. That's crazy. Justin Herbert, I mean, Greg Roman's probably gone, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. Steelers have some soul searching to do. They need to get rid of Russell Wilson, but at the end of the day, I don't know who they're going to get. Because I don't think they believe in Justin Fields, even though they probably should. And I think Mike Tomlin needs a veteran quarterback, not Justin Fields and not a rookie. TJ Watt, I don't know. Hayward's probably going to retire, but TJ Watt, these injuries, and then just the Steelers being the Steelers, I mean, he's like JJ, so I don't know if TJ's gonna ever want to leave or demand to leave or whatever. But just like Miles Garrett, it's kind of to the point where it's like, man, you're just I'm a Hall of Fame level talent, and I'm just on these teams, bro. I want a chance to win. I want a chance to go deep in the playoffs, and the Steelers are not cutting it. So like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know what y'all think. See y'all tomorrow because I'll be doing a recap of all the games tomorrow. Peace.